Eddie, thank you for joining us. Such a pleasure to have you here. It's always so good to have one of the most influential people on the court and out of the court, joining us here on CD Talks.
Claudia, it's a pleasure. Always great seeing you, and thank you for having me.
Bueno, let's start from the get-go because, of course, with all the social unrest, we have to admit that the NBA is actually taking matters on their own hands. They're going for equality and racial justice. A few of the games were actually postponed or suspended due to, in mourning and more of a, I don't want to say protest, but more in support. And the feeling was our heads are not in the game. You being in there and obviously knowing the dynamics within a locker room, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, let me start by saying that the NBA has done a great job of providing their platform for players, coaches, executives, all of us to speak out to others, to the people that are watching, to the people that are big time fans. They've done an incredible job of listening to the players and the coaches and everybody else. So my thoughts were at first, I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. I cannot even put myself in their position. I would never do that because I obviously don't know how they were feeling. So the one thing that I did was just to listen, support them. We had multiple phone calls as an executive myself with the Dallas Mavericks. We had some heart-to-heart talks. I was just listening, and obviously I supported our team, but at the same time, I had some frustration as well for them because this is my brotherhood. This is the people that I spend most of my time with, and when they're hurting, I'm hurting. They're my brothers, and that's the way we see it. And when we started sharing, or they started sharing their thoughts and feelings of where they were, I couldn't hold it. I mean, I was breaking down myself. I was crying because I was feeling their pain. And then at the same time, I was asking, okay, what can I do to help? What can we do collectively to help? And that's when we started coming out with ways to reach out to the community and to do multiple events to perhaps reach out and educate ourselves with the community as well. What is it that the community needs, especially the African American community, because they're hurting right now? And that's what we did, and we're still doing that. Our first event is coming up on September 15, where we're going to reach out here in the Dallas areas, because obviously I belong to the Dallas Mavericks institution, and Mark Cuban, our owner, our president, Donnie Nelson, Michael Finley, one of my teammates, and he's kind of leading the way in terms of helping us reach out to the community and try to make a difference with them.
That is fantastic. But I would be amiss if I didn't bring out the fact that you, as one of the handful of Hispanics that have actually made a difference in the NBA, how does this affect you, Eduardo Najera, the Mexican in the NBA?
Well, again, as I stated, how does it affect me? I was feeling their pain. At the same time, it was an eye-opener. Because an ethnic group, a minority, like the African-American minority, is hurting at this moment. So I started kind of opening my eyes to our community, our Hispanic community and minority. We are a minority in the United States, and I'm sure that there is some other injustice at times. I'm not aware of them. We haven't really gone on the streets and manifested any frustrations. However, I'm sure that it happens in our community. So by seeing this example with the African American community, I reach out to the General Mexican Council of Dallas to see how can I help. I mean, we're struggling with COVID-19. They don't have enough equipment. He was just talking to me about the things that they do within the Mexican consulate. And a lot of us, we don't even know that we have a platform as well political platform within our cities that we can rely on for any problem that we have, whether it is domestic abuse, whether it is sexual abuse, whether it is problems with the law. And I started digging in a little more thanks to this initiative of Black Lives Matters. I started kind of trying to see it on my side as a Hispanic, Latino, Mexican in the U.S., living in the U.S., and see how I can help. And the same thing, how can I educate myself and how can I reach out to our community and learn their needs and how can I make a difference in their life? Because, you know, let's face it, we're in this together.
Yes.
Some of us are more blessed than others. And our job, the ones that are blessed, you know, our job is to reach out to the ones that are not so fortunate to perhaps have a job or, you know, have success in the U.S. And that's where I'm trying to make a difference. I can't do it by myself. That's what the beauty of the NBA. The NBA is a large institution that, you know, has 30 teams, even more now with the G League. But at the same time, I try to kind of mimic their scenario, their platform, and try to learn from that and kind of propose it to different councils and see how we can help. You know, one of the things that he mentioned was there is a big problem with our community, Hispanic community, about education. Mm-hmm. Parents are taking their kids out of school and trying to force them to go to work. And that's a big issue because at the end of the day, my opinion, I think relies on education. The root of the problem is all the way at the bottom with education. And the more educated we are, especially with our kids, we cannot take them away from or deprive them from education. We need to get them there to school and get them better as students, human beings, and hopefully they can make a difference as well in the future. So I couldn't believe that. And you know, I was kind of trying to talk to the Mexican consul. Maybe we can do a campaign through social media, maybe some videos that can reach out to our Mexican community, Latino community, everybody that is coming from, you know, Central, South America that we can help, because it is important that you know, we let our kids get a great education, especially here in the United States, you know, because we feel that the education is very valuable here. So we're still talking about that, but that's one of the many problems that we're facing in the Hispanic community, and I'm still in talks. But again, going back to the original question, this initiative movement of social injustice has opened my eyes to do something for the Latino Hispanic community.
Which, and you answered a little bit what I was going to ask, because you just opened a completely different door. As we were seeing these protests that were opening many books to us that perhaps we were not privy, or maybe we just chose to not look at. I heard people saying, just play ball. This is none of your concern. What are you doing? Why are you making the NBA your platform to show your support or your lack of? Which leads me to a question that you started to answer. What is the responsibility? You have been a player before. You have represented a minority on the court. Now you're part of the organization. So what should players and owners and the organization do? What role do they play in circumstances like these?
Well, as a former NBA player, and I can honestly tell you, being from Mexico has helped me tremendously to achieve my goals on the basketball court. And I started seeing the impact that I had, especially in young adult, well, actually all over the place, young and adults. I had an impact because they love the sport and they love sports in general, especially here in the USA. And I started kind of seeing that I could, set up a great example, be a good role model, great citizen. I mean, we all make mistakes, but at the same time, I was like, well, maybe I can make a difference, especially in with my Hispanic, my compatriotas, de aquí que estamos.
Con la raza.
And that was the first thing that I think as an athlete, we need to understand that we do have an impact, whether it's positive, sometimes it could be negative. And I think that having an institution back you up, like in my case, the Dallas Mavericks, we need to utilize that and speak out and in a positive way, in a peaceful way. We have to, do it the right way because it could manifest in a negative way, and that's not what we want because at the end of the day, this got to be a win-win situation. If you're going to speak on behalf of the Dallas Mavericks or the NBA, you have to do it the right way. You can just be out there, trying to solve everybody's problems. But at the same time, if you see something that is just not right, you can rely and also have this communication. And that's where Mark Ewan, Donnie Nelson, and everybody in our institution has opened up. They communicate, and if there is something that is, a problem because of your race or because whatever it is, or because you're a female, you have an open communication straight to the top, and that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I wish all institutions were like that because that's how you solve all the problems within your environment. But at the same time, when you have this platform that you're reaching out millions and millions of people, you also have to take it into consideration that you have an impact as an athlete. Now you have a platform. Let's utilize it and make it to send a positive, moving message to our Hispanic, African American community, Asian American, everybody, the entire world. Because at the end of the day, like I said, we're in this together, and that's the way we're going to get out of this.
And, one of the things that I've always said about the NBA, it is the most international league in organized sports that we have in the US. It has representatives from all over Europe, all over Latin America, obviously US, Canada. So when we're talking about equality, let's not even talk about races. We can talk creed because we've had issues. The NBA has dealt with issues. So at the end of the game, as a league, what is the main responsibility as a league? Let's put aside the identity of each team. As a league, what is the responsibility of the league with representatives from Croatia, from all kinds of countries, Spain, France, and now all of a sudden there's turmoil in those countries as well?
Well, yes, the NBA has going global, and there's no way to stop it. It was David Stern's goal when he was in charge. Then our new commissioner, Adam Silver, he has done an incredible job to even take it further across the borders. And to be honest, they're aware of the fan base that we have worldwide. And we are aware of the responsibility that comes with it. And yes, I believe that they have a great heart, and they certainly are going to take care of our people here, but they also are trying to put out a message worldwide for everybody to understand that we are an equal, opportunistic type of environment. And they've proven it by basically, okay, if you are the best in your country, I promise you, you're going to have a job. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. The NBA has done a great job of providing equality for athletes. Now, the WNBA, in hand, that's, I think, what they created this other concept, because the WNBA is also exploding, and they're doing an incredible job to giving opportunities worldwide as well. So it's becoming a well-balanced, but that is I believe that's what is at heart for the commissioner and all owners, executives in the NBA, is to have equal opportunities for everybody, men and women, in whatever religion you are, or you grew up with, or whatever color, it doesn't really matter. They are promoting that, not just in the US, but worldwide. And I think that you got to respect that, because that's what you see, and that's what they put it on the basketball court. So again, my I'm so blessed to be a part of the NBA because I see what they're doing, and they don't have any borders. They don't see, they don't have any favoritism. They just do it the right way, and I think that's the right message across the globe.
I remember clearly the first time I saw Dikembe Mutombo, Yao Ming, and then I realized how, it started to trickle from then to just expansive. And even those two names that I've spoken to you about, they've also gone on to represent their countries politically, racially, ethnically. So all in all, this is an all-inclusive question. Beyond getting titles, beyond being recognized as MVPs, defensive player, sixth player, whatever, all those things that y'all vouch for and you veep for during a season, what is the main commitment, not just as a player, but as part of a team and as a part of a league? What should be the biggest commitment for the NBA and, just going from, Sterling all the way down?
Well, to target the grassroots and education is the biggest commitment. I believe that they want to impose our values that we grew up with, which is discipline, hard work, talent. All of those come into play, and they're implementing those values across the globe, which is, honesty. That's what I rely on to have success in the NBA, and I think that that's what you need to have success in life. You can't just depend on the political system. You can't depend on anybody other than yourself, and the willingness to get better as a human being and as a student, as an athlete, whatever it is that you are dreaming about, you gotta have these values. And I think that the NBA has done an extremely great, a great job, more so than extremely, done a great job to impose these values at a young age. Whether it is through teamwork, with the academies that they're opening worldwide, even because the game of basketball has taught us so many things. It's not easy. Everybody thinks that all you have to do is, be born 7 feet tall. That's not even the case anymore.
No.
As long as you got passion, you got heart, you're disciplined, you're consistent, you have all these values that the NBA is teaching in the game of basketball, and they're teaching it throughout the world. That's where you're gonna have success, even if it's not in basketball. You could be the best architect, you could be the best lawyer, whatever it is that you desire. And I think that's what the biggest commitment is, and I just love it.
That is brilliantly said and expressed. Thank you so much for sharing these wonderful thoughts. And hooray for you, because you're a great example of what a real person, a good citizen is supposed to be. Thank you for your time, Eddie. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. Anytime for you.